So we're going to be talking about assembly line production today. Hey guys, welcome to Mrs. G's Sewing Space. I'm so glad you're able to join me for the year 2019. It's very exciting and I have some interesting news for you guys. Our family is going to be packing up and moving back into Atlanta probably around the middle of the year. So we're excited about that and looking forward to the opportunities that we have in Atlanta. There is so much stuff going on in Atlanta that I am excited about. And this is just for the home sewer who wants to make a whole bunch of one thing and needs to do it in precise steps. So you can make a whole bunch of stuff in a short amount of time. And in doing all that, I'm going to show you how I do it. And I'm filming this halfway through my assembly line because I have already washed all my fabric, I've already ironed it all, and I've already cut out all my patterns. So I'm doing pajama pants for a whole bunch of family members, and I had to use multiple patterns for that. So I've already got everything laid out except for my son's shorts that he's getting. But then I'll be putting it all together in an assembly line once it's all done. An assembly line is when you have a pattern, for example, the pajama pant pattern, and you take it and you do multiples of one step at a time. So I have 11 pairs of pajama pants / shorts that I'm making for my kids and for my niece and nephew. So what I did, I took the individual patterns that I had for each individual person. I had the fabric separated for each individual person. I laid out the fabric and I put the pattern and I cut everything out for that person, and then I set it all aside and did the next step for the next person. So now I have a pile of fabric, which is not just piles of fabric. These are actually the pattern pieces or the cutout pieces of what I'm going to put together next. So now that I have everything cut out, I'm going to actually take the step and do one step at a time and sew everything together. So I can make a whole bunch of 9, 10, 11, something like that. No, did I say 9? Anyways, so I can finish them all at the same time and get everything done at the same time. I'll probably end up stopping when it's time to put the elastic in, just because I don't think I have enough inch wide elastic. I'll need to go get some more. We're going to move on to that. Okay, so now that we're going to get started on the assembly line, I finally have all my fabric cut out and ready to put together in little piles. So this is for my nephew, this is for my niece, this is for my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter, and then my son. So I'm going to set these aside because these are done slightly different than the rest of them. But I have white thread threaded through my sewing machine, and the needle is going to be the same on all of them, and we're just going to start one at a time. So I'm going to start with this one first, and for these particular pants, the pattern that I used is a pattern that I had drafted, so it's a one-piece pattern, and you can tell the back side has a shallower curve here, the front side has a narrower curve, and so that's how I tell the difference between front and back. So this is the front, that's the back. We're going to take these and put them right sides together at the legs, starting at the crotch, and just sew seams. So from here to here, leg seams for all of them, and I'll just keep them all piled up as we go. Okay, so right now I took the time to pin all the legs together. So I just did a pin at the bottom and a pin at the crotch, and I have them all lined up here in a pile. So what I'm going to do is I'm either going to just do a straight serge. I think I have my serger set up for 4 threads, so I can do just a straight serge. Or if I don't have a serger, I'm going to do a straight stitch, and I tend to do a 1/4 inch. A straight stitch 1/4 inch seam all the way down, and then I'll go back and either serge over the edge, zigzag over the edge, or use the overcast on my sewing machine to go over the edge so nothing unravels. So I'm going to go and do this pile of legs, and then we'll come back for the next step. Okay, so I used my serger, and when I started serging, I started with this one. I serged the leg, and instead of snipping it at the end, I just added the other leg and continued on the inseam. And then I continued on this one. So all these legs here that I have are paired up by their connections. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to snip through all of that real quick. So I'm going to just snip in there and matching up the pairs. Okay, now I have all my stuff matched up. I'm just going to fold them in half here. So now that I've got all the inseams done, I'm going to go ahead and do the crotches, and then I'll hem, and then I'll do the waist. So for all these, I'm going to put the crotches together and I'm going to pin them up. And we'll come back when I have all the crotches pinned together and sewn together. So I'll see you guys in just a minute. Real quick, I'm going to show you how I put this together. For anybody who's never done pajama pants before, when you do a one-piece pajama pant, when you do a one-piece pajama pant, so there's not two pieces for the front, there's not one piece for the front, one piece for the back, and you cut it out twice. I have one piece, so the front and back are attached. So for these, I'm going to sew the crotch seam together. Now for the crotch seam, I take one leg and I flip it inside out. And then I'm going to take this leg, I'm going to slide it into this leg, keeping this one with the wrong side out. And the seam, the inside seam, I'm going to match up to this seam. Just like that. And I'm going to bring that in here on the inside, matching up the hems here. Or the bottoms, shimmy shaking. So once you shimmy shake from the bottom, everything usually lines up here at the crotch. So now you just got to do the fine tuning. Matching up the seams at the top. So I'll do a pin here at the top. I'll do a pin about midway down. I'm going to do a pin here at the seams so that they meet. And I'm going to make sure that I have one seam lying to the left and one seam lying to the right. That reduces the bulk, and you don't have to worry about it getting too bulky up there. So I'm going to match up this side, and then put another seam right here in the middle. Now if you've done everything right and you shimmy shaked it, everything should line up pretty simple and pretty easy for your crotch seam. And then once you have that one done, you just move on to the next one until you've gone through all your pants, and then it's time to sew them all up. Okay, now that I have all my pants put together, I'm going to, they're all here. I did the inseams, I did the crotch, and remember, for my pants, I serged them with a 4 thread, but if you guys don't have it, sew it on your sewing machine with the straight stitch, then you can serge the edge if you have it, or you can use the overlock stitch on your sewing machine to be able to cover the edge so it won't fray, or just use a plain old zigzag. So now I'm going to go through and flip them all right side out. Okay, now that I've got everything pulled out and separated, so inseams, crotch, I'm going to do all of the hemming at the same time. And all I'm going to do is for these, some of these will probably be pretty long. I'm going to fold up 1/2 inch and then fold up another 1/2 inch. So there'll be a double fold and then zip around the hem. So I'm going to do that for all of these all at the same time. And then after that, it's putting in waistbands. All right, now that I've got all that done, so here are all the pants so far. 8 pairs of pajama bottoms in multiple colors and sizes here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to serge. I'm going to take the waist, I'm going to serge around the waist, and then I'm going to fold it over probably about 1.25 inches and then sew a seam around it. And then I'll slip in our elastic, sew it shut, and it'll all be done. And that's how you do an assembly line production of whatever it is that you're making. I'm actually going to finish all this off camera just because I need to go get some more elastic. I didn't have enough for all 8 pairs. This is the non-roll elastic. This is the stuff that I like because it doesn't, you see, it's hard to squeeze. It won't roll in your waistband. Whereas the softer stuff, like this, once you get it into waistband, yeah, that's gonna roll. So I need to go get some more of this elastic so that it won't roll, the big strong stuff. But I'm gonna leave that here with you guys. But that's how you do an assembly line. You take a pattern and you cut it out. Well, these are my steps. I pick out my fabric, I wash, dry, iron my fabric, I cut everything out all at the same time, and then I go through and do each step individually with everything. So we did all the inseams first on all the pant legs, and then we did all the crotches on the pant legs, and then we just got doing all the hems on the pant legs, and my next step is going to be all the waistbands. But like I said, I'm going to do that off camera because I need more elastic. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you understand what the purpose was of the assembly line in home production. Well, I say production like it's a big word. I mean, I'm not a manufacturer or anything, but it does cut down on time. Instead of making one individual pair of pants at a time, that I can make multiples all at one time, and it ends up cutting down the time in total. And all the links to just about everything that I use in my sewing room is listed down below. And if you have any questions, throw them down below, because your questions will help guide me in what you guys want to know. I mean, I know what I know, and I want to share what I know with you guys, but I don't know what you guys want to know unless you ask the questions. So there you go. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.